Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Annie. It's great to see you again. I feel like I haven't done a reading video in so long. So a few weekends ago there was the historical romance readathon, which was a weekend readathon where you were supposed to read historical romance books. This vlog is inspired by that. I did want to take part in the readathon, but I was actually very busy when the readathon was on. So what I did was I took inspiration, I took the prompts from that readathon, and I picked 9 books and decided to just read them in my own time. This vlog actually took me about 2 weeks to film. So in this video I tried something a little bit different. I tried doing a reading vlog of sorts, but less reaction, like live reading, and more checking in as I like read books and hit important marks, so like the 50% mark and stuff like that. So I'm not actually sure how this is going to turn out, but I really enjoyed the books that I read for this vlog, and I hope you enjoy the video. I don't want to talk too much at the start because I have a lot to say. I read 8 books, so let's just get into it. The first book I've started with is Midnight Angel by Kleypas. I'm really not that far into it. I don't even know. I don't even know what page or chapter or like whatever, but basically it started off very quickly. We follow our main character. Her full name is Anastasia, but everyone calls her Tasia? It's spelled T-A-S-I-A. I mean, it's like short for Anastasia. So I'm guessing it's Tasia, but I mean, maybe it's said differently. I don't know. I'm only reading this. I'm not hearing it. Basically, we meet her in a prison cell, and she essentially fakes her own death and escapes her country. I'm pretty sure she was lived in Russia. And so she escapes Russia and she is taken to England, where she stays with a distant cousin for a little bit. But her cousin goes and sends her off to live with a guy, a lord. Oh my goodness, I cannot remember his name. What is his name? Is it Luke? I think it's Luke. If it's not Luke, it's something else. Basically, her cousin sends her off to live with this lord, duke, whatever, to be a governess for his younger daughter. We find out that he's a single father. His wife died many years ago when his daughter was very young. We haven't been given an exact amount of years, but he's been a single father for a long time. His daughter Emma is, I think, 12, and she needs a governess to teach her how to be a lady and to help her get through puberty, I think is what they're saying. Like, he's worried about her because she's crying a lot, and she gets bullied, I think, because she's tall and she has red hair. And I don't know, apparently English people didn't like tall people with red hair. Honestly, I don't have a whole lot of thoughts so far. I don't hate it and I don't love it. I do kind of love the love interest, the guy. You would think I would be able to remember his name because of that, but we learned that he has a hook for a hand, or like an arm. Some of his arm's missing, he's got a hook. I think that's gonna come in way later. I think if that isn't used for something sexy, I will be mad, because like that is total opportunity for it. Like, it's mentioned that when they meet, she looks and she sees the hook and he's like, oh, everyone is disgusted by the hook. And then when it's her point of view, she's like, oh, I wasn't disgusted by it. So obviously that's going to be a thing, you know, where he's like, no one loves my hook. And she'd be like, I love your hook. You know, like, if that doesn't happen, I'll eat a hat. I'll eat a fucking hat, because it has to. But that is where we're at so far, really. She's moved in with this man whose name I can't remember. I think it's Luke. And his daughter, she's learning how she's going to be a governess. And that's really it. I've just read the first day. Haven't read a lot. None of the romances, nothing romantic has really happened yet. And as I said, I'm not like loving it or hating it, but I'm intrigued. I'm not interested, you know. It's definitely caught my attention, especially the start was very, very intense and absolutely not what I was expecting, especially from a historical fiction romance from before the 2000s. I don't know. I don't know what I was expecting, but it wasn't that. So, I kind of hope that I can finish Midnight Angel tonight, but we will just have to see because I'm currently moving and I have a lot of stuff that I need to do. So, I'm really just going to be reading around moving. If I just realized that our fridge has been buzzing this whole time, if you can hear that in the background, I'm so sorry. I am going to get back to it. I will update you guys if I've done more reading. If anything spicy happens, I'll be sure to let you know. I just want to let you guys know that this is the first book that I'm reading and I'm kind of digging it so far. I'm kind of digging it. Excuse my very unorganized bookshelves. Ignore them. Ignore them. You will see me organize them another time. They just had to be put on the shelves so they weren't in the way because our apartment is very small. I didn't finish reading Midnight Angel by Lisa Kleypas last night, but I did finish it this morning. Thoughts and feelings. I liked it. I really did. I really did like it. I think my favorite Lisa Kleypas novel that I've read. I don't know what I'm going to rate this one. I don't think it's a 5 stars. I think it's going to be a 4 out of 5 stars for me. I did really like it, but I don't know. There were just some parts that felt a bit strange. Like things would happen. There were quite a lot of very serious, heavy moments in this book. Lots of talk about people being sentenced to death. Lots of talk about torture. Lots of talk about child molesting and pedophilia. I say a lot. It really wasn't a lot, but there were very intense moments in this story. And then just randomly romance moments. I don't know. I think the balance between the serious parts of the novel and the romantic parts of the novel it wasn't that great. But apart from that, I really enjoyed it. I actually really liked both of the main characters, which I mean isn't rare in romances, but I kind of is, honestly. I usually don't think much of both of the characters, but I really liked both of the main characters. I feel like the plot was pretty predictable, in all honesty. Nothing sexy happened with the hook. My prediction was very wrong. I'm not, I was gonna say I'm mad. I'm not mad. I just I genuinely thought something was gonna happen with the hook. It didn't. But basically, yeah, they fall in love, they get married. It's all great. At one point, she gets taken back to Russia. It's very intense. It's very scary. But yeah, I mean, the plot, it wasn't anything revolutionary. The plot was pretty predictable. But it wasn't unenjoyable. I did actually really quite enjoy reading that book. But that's it. That's my first book for this readathon done. I haven't actually picked which book I want to pick up next. I'm thinking it's going to be Almost a Scandal by, I want to say, Elizabeth Essex, I think. But I will update you guys once I've started my next read. Okay, so it is a lot later. I've just taken my makeup off and I have a hot cocoa here. I'm just in bed. I'm about to do some more reading. I started Almost a Scandal by Elizabeth Essex today and I'm loving it. It is about a girl, Sally. She goes by both names. Sally, I think, is what her preferred name is. And basically she's taking her brother's place in the Navy. He didn't want to show up and her whole family's in the Navy and she was oh my god, that would be such a disgrace. So she shows up and takes his place, except the lieutenant on board is one of her older brother's old friends, an old family friend, and he realizes almost immediately that she is not the brother who's meant to be part of the crew. He realizes that it is in fact Sally and not Richard or whatever his name is meant to be. And so things are a bit tense right now. Not only is this a Mulan kind of scenario, the tension in this book has been so high from the get-go. I've been loving this. It has been so fucking good. I was honestly so surprised that they made it so that he realized who she was. like, he realizes really early on, like, I'm probably like 20% through the book, and he's already, like, he realizes almost straight away. And I mean, like, that makes sense, but also I wasn't expecting it. I thought they'd drag it out a little bit more, make things even more tense, but somehow him finding out has made it more tense than, like, I was even expecting. And I'm not mad about it at all. I'm also really, really loving Elizabeth Essex character building. She's doing, like, an incredible job at giving these characters life. The amount of dialogue that is in this book, but, like, it actually adds so much to the characters, and the plot is incredible. Like, I am just in awe of her dialogue. I think by far one of the best historical fiction books that I've read. Like, even like in the first 20%, like, I've been captivated from the very get-go. I love the characters, the writing is impeccable, the plot, chef's kiss. Like, this is just so great. I'm really loving it. I'm going to carry on reading. I don't know if I'll do any more updates tonight. Like, I feel like I should be updating you guys more often, but I mean, honestly, I don't know. If anything spicy happens, I will let you guys know. But so far, it's really fucking good, and I don't think that's going to change. So if I don't update you guys, that's probably because nothing has changed. Did I finish Almost a Scandal last night? No. Did I finish it this morning? Yes. I fucking loved it. Almost a Scandal by Elizabeth Essex, potentially my new favorite historical fiction romance ever. Like, ever. Oh my fucking god. I loved it. Wow. To be fair, I say that I loved it, and I really did. I think it was, like, incredible and, like, perfect, but there were definitely things that I didn't like in it, but they weren't so bad as to take away from the story themselves. They were just, like, little things. For example, wasn't a big fan of the whole war, like, Navy war subplot. That wasn't, you know, like, the descriptions of the ship fights and, like, gunfire and stuff like that wasn't really why I was reading the story, and I think that also played into, like, it felt like there wasn't exactly a whole lot of romance. Like, I wanted a bit more romance from the book, but it was still, the romance included was still really fucking good. But, like, because there was such a focus on the Navy and the war that was happening, I felt like that did take away from the romance a little bit. But also, I feel like there was something else that I didn't really, like, love a whole lot, but now I can't remember what it is now that I'm thinking about it. I think the ending wasn't incredible. I say that, however, I was trying really hard not to cry. So, I mean, who really fucking knows? Either way, I loved reading it. Like, such a great experience reading that story. I desperately want the physical copy so I can put it on my shelves and reread it whenever I want. I would honestly recommend this to a lot of people. Great plot, great characters, and I mean, I would definitely say that I have read heavier, steamier historical fiction romances, so if you are looking for something that is a little not as raunchy, this could probably be a really good place to start. If it's not a 5 stars, it's a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I haven't really decided on what my rating is going to be. The next book that I'm going to read is, oh my goodness, I cannot remember the name, but it is by Beverly Jenkins. Oh my god, what is the name? I want to say it's called Embracing Desire, but that might not be the name, but I think it is. But I'll update you guys once I've started reading, and I'll tell you guys what the book is actually fucking called, because I can't remember it for the life of me, but I'll let you guys know once I give you an update. Someone tell me why this cowboy romance is getting me acting up. So the book is actually called Destiny's Embrace, I think. Oh my god, I just woke up from a nap, to be fair, but I am about a quarter of the way through. I'm gonna check, this is gonna annoy me. Let me just check that. Yes, it's Destiny's Embrace by Beverly Jenkins. I am loving it. I'm also loving how, like, every book I've read so far for this readathon has been superb. No complaints. I mean, I haven't finished Destiny's Embrace yet, but it is good. Oh my goodness. Basically we follow Mariah, and she's had a bit of a rough childhood, I guess you could say. She's got a bit of a bit of a bad relationship with her mum, and essentially she runs away from home. She's like 30 or something, but like she runs away from home, and her aunt gets her a job in California, which is like across the country. I think she's in Philadelphia, some ways away. I don't know American geography, I'm sorry. Basically her aunt gets her a job in California. She is now, what is it called? Oh my god, my memory is so terrible. Housekeeper. She's working as a housekeeper for Logan. And is that his name, Logan? Why is my memory so terrible? I'm pretty sure his name is Logan. And he is a cowboy? Basically, he's like lives on a ranch. He rides horses, he buys horses, he sells horses. He's a horse guy. And he's hot. That's all I'm gonna say. It's hot. It's really hot. This whole thing is really hot, and I'm really loving it. Both of the characters are like a bit sassy, and I'm living for it. It's not necessarily that they have like chemistry, but it's very obvious that they like challenge each other, and I think like that works really well. Like the dynamic is written really well. Nothing's really happened. They've had one kiss, which was a bit iffy, I'm not gonna lie. He kind of like not forced himself on her, but it was like very out of the blue, very sudden. It was the day that they'd met. He just kissed her out of nowhere, and she was like, whoa. He apologized, but still like a bit like, whoa. Wasn't a huge fan of that, but apart from that, everything's pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of loving it. But yeah, I'm a quarter of the way through. I just had a nap. I'm gonna keep reading. I want to finish this because I'm loving it. I think this is shorter than the other books that I've read. This ebook is only about 400 pages. The other two books that I read were like 800 pages, so hopefully I can get through this pretty quick. Okay, so it's a lot later. If you can hear the jug boiling, it's because I'm about to make a drink. I also need to go have a shower. But I finally finished reading Destiny's Embrace by Beverly Jenkins. I really liked it. I think, honestly, very different to a lot of the historical fiction romances that I've read. Not saying that I've read many because I haven't. But very like, I don't know, just very, very different. I think quite insta-lovey, which isn't like uncommon in historical romances, but this was like very insta-lovey. They bring it up a lot, like you know, they're like, whoa, do I really want to marry this man I met 3 days ago? Yes, I do. Whoa, am I really like in love with this lady who I met a week ago? Yes, I am. Like very, very insta-lovey. I don't mind insta-love. I didn't think it like took away from the story or made it bad in any way, but I can see a lot of people not liking that. I think I really enjoyed like the subplots to do with like the family dynamics. I think those were very, very sweet. Definitely almost hit up towards the end. Just very sweet, very, very sweet. And this is the first book in a series. I think a lot of the books that I've picked to read are like part of a series, but this is the first book in a series. I think it's like a very good first book. Great setup for like upcoming books. I can definitely see where everything's going. I might carry on with the series. I think it could be good. It was like good fun, a quick read. Was it the best historical romance I've ever read? No. But I still had a good time. My phone is currently charging because it is very much almost dead. But I think the book that I was most excited to get to in this readathon was The Vampire Who Loved Me. Can't remember who it's by, but it's a historical romance with vampires, paranormal. I couldn't have asked for anything better. I mean, I haven't read it yet. It might be terrible, but I'm very, very excited to read it. So I'm going to start that tonight. Okay, hi, it is the next day. I'm on chapter 12 of The Vampire Who Loved Me by Teresa Medeiros. Just over halfway, I think chapter 12 is, pretty sure. Definitely have read a decent amount of the book. I'm loving it. Are we surprised? Not really. This book follows Portia and Julian, Portia is a human girl. I don't actually know how old she is. I think she's 19, but basically when she was younger, I think like maybe 15 or something, she saved Julian's life. Julian is a vampire, and they know each other like through family. I think her sister's husband is Julian's brother. Some kind of family connection going on, that's how they knew each other. Basically they got locked up in a crypt together, and Julian was going to die, but Portia let him drink some of her blood. They escaped. Julian's been away, absent from London for I think 5 or so years, but now he's back, and Portia was very much in love with him as a younger girl, like as a teenage girl, very much in love with him. He knew nothing could come from it, so that's what he was doing, being away from London. He was trying to distract himself, but now he's back, and Portia's in a bit of trouble, and to get themselves out of it, she's in trouble from another vampire who is jealous of how much Julian loves Portia, because he very much does love Portia. And so to protect Portia from this evil female vampire, they are going to fake date. I say fake date. Basically, Portia is going to pretend to be Julian's, like they're going to pretend that Julian has turned Portia into a vampire so he can like keep her with him forever. Like, could this story be any more perfect? I don't know. I'm fucking loving it. It's hot. They have a lot of tension going on between them, and I like that. It's pretty good. Portia's pretty kick-ass. She's pretty Julian's brother is like a vampire hunter, and Portia has been like helping him, training with him, so she knows how to like fight vampires. She's very much doesn't want to just be a helpless little girl or whatever. She likes to stand up for herself and be able to protect herself. She's pretty cool. She's pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of like her. Julian is like the perfect emo vampire. Love him. I just like, I thought that this would be great, but I didn't expect it to be this great. Like, this is potentially the best vampire romance I've ever read in my life. I love it. I love it so much. I will probably finish this book soon. I don't know if there will be anything else to really update you guys on. I think I'm closer to the end than I said. I can't remember exactly where I'm up to, but I'll let you guys know what I think once I'm done, if there's nothing else to say while I'm reading. In a shocking turn of events, I did not like how it ended. Did I love most of it up until the ending? Yes, I did. Was the plot twist towards the end shocking? Yes, could probably have been predicted. But it got me. It got me good. I'm not going to lie. But then the ending. I think one of my biggest pet peeves about vampire fiction, especially romances, is when it's like, being a vampire is the worst possible thing that could ever happen to you. Being a vampire is like disgusting. You're a monster. And like, absolutely, like, being a vampire, you are a monster. Yes, I get that. But it's just like, I don't see that. I really hate that. I really hate it when they focus on like the vampire being the monster and they try to rectify it in some way. I don't want to spoil the ending of the book in case you want to go read it, because I would recommend it. I think I will go back and read the first book and see what that was like, and see if there are any more in the series after this one. See what it's like. Yeah, that's definitely that's my biggest pet peeve, is when they're like, oh, vampire's bad. I'm like, yeah, vampire's bad, but like, you can't write vampires being sexy and then like make them bad, like so disgusting. Like, if you're writing them being sexy, you already don't think that they're that bad, you know? You get what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying. But there we go. That's another book done. I think I really want to read A Week to Be Wicked by Tessa. So I think that's what I'm going to pick up next, because that's on my quarterly TBR, and I love Tessa, even though I've only read 2 of her books. So I'm going to pick up that next, I think. Oh god, I am 200 pages into A Week to Be Wicked by Tessa, and I love it. Owie! I really don't know how I've managed to choose all incredible historical romances to read, but this is so fucking good. Oh my goodness. Okay. I honestly think I'm just really in a romance mood. That is probably just it. But basically, this story follows Minerva, and she is trying to stop this Rake, Colin, from marrying her older sister, who's very lovely and I think has quite a few illnesses, so she's quite fragile, as they would say, as I think they have said. But she's like, you know, she reminds me of the older sister from Pride and Prejudice. Super beautiful, super like beautiful soul. She's like she's stunning on the inside as well as the outside. And everyone thinks that this man, this Rake, Colin, is going to marry her. Don't know why. She's beautiful. It makes sense. So Minerva goes to Colin and she goes, "Hi, elope with me." But she doesn't really want to elope with him. She doesn't want to marry him. She wants to go to this science geology thing up in Scotland. But she says if he accompanies her so she can be safe, they can say that they eloped. And then when they return back, they'll just say it didn't work out. They're getting like divorced or whatever. A fake elopement, really. Surprisingly, Colin doesn't want to, but he's starting to get charmed by little Minerva. Minerva's one of those characters that I like her, I do, but you know, as everyone's like, whoa, she's so different. She wears glasses and she reads books and she's awkward and shy and she doesn't know how to talk to guys. And I'm just like, I'm not a huge fan of that trope in general, like making a girl different. You give her glasses and say that she's awkward. That is not it for me. But what we're finding with her time with Colin is that she's actually not as shy as everyone thinks. She's a bit awkward, but mostly she's just matter-of-fact, scientific, straight to the point. And Colin is helping her have fun for the first time in a while. He's like making up funny stories. I mean, they're eloping together. He's making it fun. She's finding out that she's having like fun for the first time in her whole life, and it's just, I don't know, I like this kind of, I think that's really fucking cute. So fucking cute. I'm enjoying it. And it's like, the whole thing is like, oh, why would a handsome lord like you fall in love with a awkward, fumbling girl like me? And they're gonna fall in love. Like, he is already like so into her, it's insane. I don't know if she's definitely into him, but I don't think, not as much as he is. Definitely he's been a bit of an ass to her. Like, he's said some things and he's meant them in like a mocking way, or he said them carelessly, and she's been very upset by what he said, and he's like, fuck, like, I didn't mean to upset her, you know? But he's been a bit mean to her, so I definitely think he is more in love with her than she is with him at this point. But we know that's gonna change. I just know that at some point she's going to get hurt, and I'm not ready for it. Also, or actually, possibility he gets hurt. He's got a very tragic backstory. Parents were killed. Like, he saw his parents die when he was very young in an accident. Can't sleep alone. Terrible nightmares. Ugh, I love a good wounded hero. Oh my goodness, I'm in love with him. I'm not gonna lie. Did laugh a little bit when I heard his name was Colin, because they're talking about this like dangerous, seductive Rake, and then she's like, Colin, and I just Colin is not the name that I would associate with the top of my head with dark, seductive guy. I don't know. But he's got a dark past and a heavy heart. He just wants some love, and that is my weakness. I love characters like that, guy characters like that. Delicious. The flavor is like no other. Whenever there's like a fake love arrangement, I'm so worried that people are going to, like, I feel like there's always a chance for someone to get really, really hurt, and I don't want that for either of them. So fingers crossed this book is kind to me. Whew. Okay, it is a lot later, but I finished reading A Week to Be Wicked by Tessa earlier. Easily my new favorite Tessa book. Holy fucking shit. That shit was hot. So, wow. Like, so good in every single way. I could not have asked for a better Tessa book. Like, genuinely incredible. I loved the plot. It was, I want to say chaotic, but I feel like chaotic is bad. It was chaotic in the best way possible. Crazy, wild, sexy, stunning. Oh my goodness. I don't know if I will start another read tonight. I went on Instagram and did a poll on my story, asked you guys to pick my next read. I think currently that's like the Temptations of a Wallflower or something like that is winning, but I'm gonna leave it for a little bit longer, give both of them a bit of a fair chance, give people a chance to see the story and vote. But hopefully I will be starting a new book tonight. Unfortunately, I'm starting to get busier and I haven't actually had a lot of time to read today. However, I have just started my next read. So from the Instagram poll, The Temptations of a Wallflower was the book that won. So that is a book that I've quite literally just started. I'm only on chapter 2. Is it too soon to say that I'm already loving it? Are we surprised? Are we surprised? Oh my god, so before I started this book, I had read like the synopsis on Goodreads, but in all honesty, I had entirely forgotten what it was about. I've been reminded from the first chapter, and let me tell you, this sounds incredible. So, basically, we are following Jeremy, who is a vicar. I don't actually know specifically what a vicar does. I know that it's like a religious, like something to do with the church. He actually makes a comment. The first 2 chapters are from his point of view, and in the first chapter he says something along the lines of like he's really lonely and he doesn't know how he's going to handle having a wife because he's like anyway, this is relevant, hang on. Basically, the first chapter, Jeremy is meeting with his dad and his uncle because his dad is upset with an author who is wildly popular. She is a smart writer, basically, but she writes under a pseudonym, and Jeremy's dad wants Jeremy to find out who she is. And I know from the synopsis that he doesn't find out who the writer is, but he falls in love with the writer, and she keeps her identity as the smart writer secret. But just the setup, just the premise, incredible. I'm so excited to see how this one goes. I love it. Everything about it so far, oh, I adore it. 10 out of 10. I don't know how much reading I'll actually be able to get done today. I might try finish this tonight. We will just have to see. But if not, definitely by tomorrow. But I just wanted to let you guys know that that is the book that has won, The Temptations of a Wallflower. That's what I'm reading next. Only just started, but I think it's gonna be a good one. Okay, so here's the thing. I really did want to update you guys while I was reading Temptations of a Wallflower by Beverly. However, once I started reading, I literally couldn't stop. Are we surprised that I loved this book? Because I loved this book. Honestly, I don't think it's the best book of the ones that I've read so far in this vlog, like technically, objectively, but I loved it in so many ways. So I told you guys the basic synopsis. Jeremy, he's a vicar. He needs to try and find out who this smart author is. She writes under a pen name. No one knows who she is. He's trying to expose her. I don't think I actually explained that. So from what I could tell, Jeremy's father is in politics or something like that, and he's not doing very well. And so he thinks that if he can stop this smart writer from publishing her smutty books, that'll like win him the favor of a lot of, you know, like the religious people and more like of the high society people who would look down on that kind of literature. So he wants Jeremy to expose this author for his sake, not like for his benefit. Not, it's got nothing to do with Jeremy. Jeremy just does it because he's a good son. Also, he's very intimidated by his father anyway. And of course, we know that this smut writer is Lady Sarah, and Jeremy and Lady Sarah meet and they instantly hit it off. And I say they instantly hit it off, they instantly are interested in each other. There are a few things that I didn't love about this book, and I know I didn't mind that it was like insta-lovey, because it kind of very much is. I know some people might not like that. I thought it was very well done. Also, the tension between the two of them was insane. That was probably my favorite part of the book, was the tension between Lady Sarah and Jeremy, because it is so obvious that they both are really into each other. When they interact with each other, it's not as like insta-lovey as it probably seems. But anyway, the tension, the sexual tension is insane. And something else I really liked about this was the plot. The plot twists in this book I was not expecting, and they weren't even really like plot twists, but just like things that happened. I just was not expecting it at all. I will say one of the things that I didn't like, I wish the tension had been drawn out for longer, because it definitely ended a lot sooner than I thought it was going to be. I would also say at the end conflict, Jeremy does eventually find out that Lady Sarah is the writer who he's trying to expose, and obviously that is an issue for them. I didn't like how that part of the book played out very well. I think it was a decent conflict, but then I think it was just resolved a bit too quickly. But even with those few things that I don't think were the best, I loved this like so much. I don't even think you understand. The first half of the book was incredible, and it easily makes up for the second half where I didn't love everything as much. But I also just really loved the characters, and reading this book, this is one of those books that made me realize how much I love writing. Like, I don't know, it's not very often that I read a book and it just makes me want to get up and write, but that is what this book like did for me. I was reading this the whole time and I was going, yes, like the passion that Lady Sarah felt for writing was like exactly what I felt when I was writing, and that just like, I just related to it so much, and I just loved that. If I don't get a physical copy of this book, I will scream. I want a physical copy of this book so badly. Like, I loved it. I don't want to say the best historical romance that I've read in this readathon vlog so far, because I feel like I've said that for every single book that I've read, and I just need to stop it, because I really loved all of these. But this one, I think this one is the best. Genuinely, I think it's the best. Anyway, I think I want to read, what's it called? A Dangerous Lady? Can't remember who it is by. I'll put a picture obviously on the screen. I think that's what I'm going to pick up next. Hi, it's been a few days since I updated you guys. I started reading A Dangerous Kind of Lady. Oh my goodness, who is it by? Why am I so bad at remembering authors' names? By Vincy. I started reading it, I think I'm 100, maybe 200 pages into the ebook, and I had to stop reading because I cringed a little bit too hard, and it like not necessarily cringed in a bad way, I don't think. Like, cringe, my heart was happy, but it was still a bit of a cringe. Probably doesn't make any sense. Let's explain. Honestly, it was like a little bit cringe in the sense that it felt like it happened a little bit too early. Like, I feel like this is what would happen like halfway or like towards the end of a book. We're not even, as I said, only like 100, 200 pages in. Like, it's early days. And I kind of had to stop. It was sweet. Like, it was really sweet, that scene where I was like, oh, it's like, stop it. He cares about her. My goodness. Like, we all know that, but like, he's starting to realize it, you know. That's like one of the best parts. I had to take a break. It's weird because I'm not liking this, but I'm not loving it as much as I love the other ones. Really don't know where I stand right now. I think it definitely has potential. I don't think it's going to be bad. I just don't know how good it's going to be. But that is an update for you guys. I will check back in once I've made a bit more progress with this one. This vlog is honestly taking so long to finish. In saying that though, I did finish reading A Dangerous Kind of Lady by Mia, blanking on the last name, Mia Vincy. I know I was a bit uncertain about my thoughts and feelings towards the book. So I'm sure you're probably wondering, is this the first book that I have disliked in this reading vlog? And the answer is absolutely not. I fucking loved this. When I say some of the best enemies to lovers I have ever read in my life, specifically the two lovers part, like them falling in love, the second 50% of that book, I cannot even begin to describe what it did to me. I actually tried to film it because I finished that book with tears in my eyes. Like, I was sobbing, but I genuinely looked so ugly. Like, it was not a pretty, like, sniffle, wipe away a tear. I was, like, ugly sobbing in bed at, like, 9 a.m. because of this book. And I'm sorry, you're not going to see that because the footage terrified myself. But I think that just goes to show that this was a fucking good book, and it really fucking was. Oh my god. In saying that though, when I finished it, as I was ugly sobbing, I was like, absolutely, this is a 5-star read. I actually don't think it's going to be a 5-star read. I think it's going to be a 4-star read. So now I'm on to the final 2 books. Finally. I have started reading 50 Ways to Ruin a Rake. And it's honestly very similar to A Dangerous Kind of Lady. I cannot remember her full name, but because everyone calls her Melly. Melly is our main character. She likes science. Her dad is like a scientist, kind of. And essentially, everyone wants her to marry her half-cousin, Ronnie, who is funny because he's described to be like, he looks like he's really big and like brutish looking, but he's a poet. He's like a big romantic and he really wants to marry Melly, right? And Melly very much does not want to marry Ronnie, not necessarily because he is her half cousin, but because she just knows, like, she doesn't want to marry him. She doesn't think that he'll make her happy, and she kind of wants to marry for love if she could. But the thing is, she wants money. And as a lady in that time, she is not allowed to, like, have control over her own money. The easiest way for her to do that would be to marry someone who then allowed her to control her money. But, like, because of the time, men are the ones who have access to her money. So currently all of her money is with her father, right? But because she's a scientist, she has this project that she's working on, and she wants to, like, get it made and produced and, like, sell it to people. But she wants all the money and the profits for herself, but she knows that she will not get that unless she marries someone. She absolutely does not want to marry half-cousin Ronnie, right? In comes, name is drawing a blank, it's a guy. It's a guy, he's a guy, and they have known each other since they were children. Are you seeing the similarities between A Dangerous Kind of Lady and 50 Ways to Ruin a Rake? Wait, there's more. They have, like, inherently disliked each other for years, and it's not like they are enemies exactly, but they've just never really been interested in each other. They've hung around a lot. The guy, he's a duke. Trevor is his name, and Trevor is also kind of into science. His Melly's dad, like, tutors him, so that's how they know each other. He's, like, interested in science, and he does science stuff with Melly's dad anyway. Melly and Trevor have never really been interested in each other until Trevor proposes to Melly. For convenience sake, of course, they're not in love yet. But, like, do you see how similar that is? I will say, though, this is moving a lot faster than A Dangerous Kind of Lady. So I'm only a quarter of the way through 50 Ways to Ruin a Rake, and they're already, like, off to London, like, as an engaged couple. They're not about to get married yet because their arrangement is so that the Duke, Trevor, can get his money back because his allowance got cut off until he found someone to marry, and he is taking Melly to London so she can be taken out in society and hopefully meet a guy who she can actually marry for love, right? So I'm interested to see how this goes. I will say, like, right now, compared to A Dangerous Kind of Lady, this feels a lot more romance focused. Like, obviously the plot is that, like, Melly wants to go to London and fall in love with a guy and also produce her, like, science product, and Trevor wants to get his money back. But it's like, I don't know, A Dangerous Kind of Lady felt like it had a really set plot going on, and this just feels very much like things happening to get the characters together, if that makes sense. I feel like there's a difference. I know what I'm saying. I don't know if I'm saying it very well. I think I can't tell where the plot of 50 Ways to Ruin Rake is going, so I'm interested to see where, like, how things go, what troubles come up, what gets in the way of these two getting together, what makes them get together more, that kind of thing. I'm very, very excited. So I'm probably just gonna sit and read as much as I can. I hope I can finish this today. I honestly read through, like, the first quarter of 50 Ways to Ruin Rake did not take me long to read it all. I probably read it in like half an hour. So hoping I can kind of speed through this, but we'll just see. I will definitely update you guys. I don't know if I'll update you guys once I'm done. Maybe if something interesting happens. I don't know. I feel like I say this every time, but I mean, we'll just see. I'll definitely update you guys at some point. Okay, so it's a few hours later. It didn't actually take me that long to finish reading 50 Ways to Ruin Rake by Jade, Leigh, and finally, this is one that I did not love with my whole heart, mind, and soul. I still enjoyed it, like, a decent amount. It just definitely wasn't as good as the other ones. Basically, I think this was, like, meant to be the tone of the book. The tone of the book was meant to be very fun and, like, silly, I think. A big thing that happens in this book is they always, like, fight. They try and fight over Melinda. They're like, oh, she doesn't know who to marry? Well, fisticuffs at dawn. Come on, we'll battle it out. Whoever wins gets the lady, right? And they do that because it's like honor. It's what men do. And they say they like it. It's like, oh, it's just what we do. It's just what men do. Because Melinda's like, please don't fight over me. I don't actually want you guys to do that. And they're like, no, but we have to because we're men. Which was just like that. That was not something that I enjoyed. And then also it was really obvious, like, they kept on fighting for Melinda when it was really obvious that she just wanted someone to love her. It seemed silly. Like, if you're looking for something lighthearted and fun and easy, I would recommend this book. I think, like, you would enjoy it. It's a quick, breezy read. I think it only took me 2 or 3 hours to get through. I will also say some of the sex scenes, the way they were written, did not do it for me, chief. It just, like, some of the word choices a little bit uncomfortable. The other books definitely better in terms of steam. So I think this is going to be a 3 out of 5 stars for me, which honestly I'm kind of disappointed. I was hoping that I would actually enjoy all of them a whole lot, and I'm a bit sad that this one wasn't as great as the others. But that leaves me to start the final book for this vlog. Finally, I can't remember what it's called. I think it's like The Feeding and Caring of Waspish Widows, I think. Very, very excited for this. This is a woman love woman historical romance, so I'm excited for some good queer historical fiction romance. I definitely don't think this will be one that disappoints me though. Okay, hi guys. Unfortunately, I am going to be DNFing The Care and Feeding of Waspish Widows by Olivia Waite. I am going to read. I'm not stopping reading it in general. I'm just going to DNF it for the sake of this video because I want to get this video up, and I actually think I might try and find a bunch of other queer historical romances and do a separate video on that, and I might see if I can read The Care and Feeding of Waspish Widows in that video as well. So for anyone who's wondering, I got about 40% of the way through, and I think it's a very, very different vibe to the other 8 historicals that I read. It's a lot, maybe it's just like the mood that I'm in, but I feel like it's going a lot slower than the other ones. So I just don't think it's gonna work for this video, so I'm going to not read it and we'll see about reading it in another video. Maybe let me know if that is something you would be interested in, if I did a queer historical romance video, because I would love to do that personally, because I've had such a great time reading these 8 books over the past few weeks, and I genuinely think historical romances might be one of my new favorite genres. And so of course I would want to try and find some queer historical romances if I could. But that is going to be the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you maybe go and pick up some of these historical romances if you're wondering if you're new to the genre, or if you've just been kind of stuck and looking for some new recommendations. I hope you maybe found some new ones from this video. I definitely read, I think at least for me, a wide variety of historical romances from different authors and from different times. This is definitely like the widest range of historicals that I've read, so these were all entirely new to me except for the Lisa Kleypas novel and the Tessa novel. I've read a few of their historicals before, but apart from that, all of the other books were either like new authors or ones that I'd never heard of, and I think this went surprisingly well for a whole lot of books that I'd never heard of before starting this video. So I'm very pleased with how it went. If you end up reading any of these books, please let me know. I would love to chat with you. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. Or if you have any historical romance recommendations, please let me know. I feel like it's not a super popular genre to discuss on BookTube. I know there are like a few specific people who really like historical romances, but in general I feel like it's not one of the more popular genres. So I mean, I'm not going to be surprised if no one gives me any recs, but I would love to hear them if you have them. But thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I will see you sometime soon with another video. Bye.